you know what? You're gonna have a dark-skinned daughter. You're gonna have a dark-skinned daughter, and then you're not gonna know what to do. So hi, I am back, and before you come and just like punch me in my face, I wanted to talk today about anti-blackness within Islam, because it is definitely a thing. I think some of my previous videos alluded to that actually, because I was speaking in the terms of somebody on the outside looking in, right? So somebody on the outside looking in at a group of people who are in my community who definitely perpetuate a certain idea of what they think a black person is supposed to be, or is, what a black person is. So I wanted to come today and kind of like talk about not the Somali thing, because there was a couple of comments, and some people said I should do rebuttal videos. Some people said that I should do like an apology video. Okay, one thing about it is I said what I said, right? So I'm not trying to perpetuate negativity within the Somali culture. I am trying to illuminate an idea that is already concrete within the culture, that black people are not as good as, you know, East African, Somali, whatever you want to categorize yourself to be. But the thing of it is that just speaks to that culture or diaspora rather than the pan, right? So in Islam, we see a lot of anti-blackness, anti-African American, anti-blackness, period. And people know Islam or Muslims as an Arab culture, or that it originated within the Arab culture or Arab countries. But that's similar to not true. While it does have some footing there, it is definitely a religion for everybody, and I think that's the footholder for Islam, is that anybody and everybody is allowed to come into this place and into this space and have a place at the table or a seat at the table. We are all Muslims and we are all a part of the pan. Talk today about anti-blackness within Islam and black men that hate black women in Islam, right? So while you might think, oh my God, what the, like, no, like this is really a thing, right? So I'll start with black men hating black women in Islam, right? So black men, when they first, you know, I am not a convert. I am a Caribbean Muslim American who was born second generation Muslim. I've been wearing hijab since I was 9 years old. I went to Duxi. If you Somali viewers are still watching, I went to Islamic school. I was like fluent in Arabic at a certain point in time of my life. My stepfather is an Arab American. I have been embedded in Arab culture, and I think that we can all say as Black Americans, if you are watching this, is that when we are inside of Islam, we are inside of this pan, we are able to navigate into other people's culture, because we subsequently don't have our own culture, or at least people don't think that we have our own culture. So we can navigate into arenas that we would normally never be allowed to be in. That's Desi culture, right? Arab culture, right? Pakistani culture, I don't know if that correlates with Desi, but Pakistani culture, you know, you can, Syrian culture, like Iranian culture, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Ugandan, like, you know, because Muslims are everywhere, right? Like we live in every corner of the world, and we come from all places and spaces. So when you're black and subsequently you don't have anything to like grasp onto, and I'm not saying that's true, because I believe that black people have their own culture and it's up for grabs, because everybody wants to be a nigga, but nobody wants to be a nigga, right? So like when you are a Muslim, you can navigate into places you are normally not allowed to. And that goes for anybody. Like if you're not a part of Desi culture, you'll be like hard pressed to like be embedded within that culture unless you didn't get an invitation directly from the sender. So when you're Muslim, you're able to navigate and you're able to see people and, you know, dig into their culture a little bit. And that's why I'm able to like kind of like see Somalis in a different light, in a positive light, in a negative light, and see Arabs in a positive light, in a negative light. And when black men, when a lot of them convert over into Islam, or some of them have even been born into Islam, African American men, they come into this place of, well, the world is my oyster because black men already have that idea, but way before they get into, you know, Islam, is that the world is their oyster. They are able to navigate. They're able to navigate these spaces, whether or not religion is a part of that. So they might see a girl and, you know, have, you know, and a lot of times that I see with black men is that they don't have an allegiance to their women. Every other culture has allegiance to their women. A white man will, you know, he doesn't, men period, the world is their oyster, but a white man will navigate his space before he navigates somebody else's space, you know what I'm saying? Like, more often than not. And the same goes with Indian, you know, Indians are Asian, but Asians talking about like Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and just every dynamic. Like they navigate they go to their women before they go to somebody else. And black men don't really have that allegiance to their women. So, ooh, this is bright. So they go and then they, you know, because of the anti-blackness within themselves, and I feel like some of it is just like, I met you and I love you, and so that's what it's going to be. But a lot of the times it's, I know her, and I know her, talking about black women, but I want you though, you know what I'm saying? Like they get excited about that because, you know, it's not easy for them, obviously, because a lot of these cultures the doors are locked for against interracial relationships and marriage. But it's easier for them to kind of like navigate the spaces when they have Islam backing them. And so, you know, not everybody in Islam is racist, obviously. Not all Muslims are racist, obviously. So they're able to go and marry who they choose, and they don't choose the women that are right there in front of them who might be their women of their same race and ethnicity and nationality, but they'll choose somebody who is Arab or Pakistani or whomever, just to say that they have somebody of a lighter fare. So then I wanted to talk about self-hatred, right? So self-hatred is really a thing. I don't think that people understand. 1 second, is really hot. Ooh. I hope you can hear me. Self-hatred is really rampant in the black community. Like, the men are not, you know, the men and women, it's not just men, obviously. Like, black women have a level or degree of self-hatred because of slavery, institutionalized slavery, colonialism, colorism. Like, it's all like stacked up against us. But with black men, I feel like in this, if we're talking about in this dynamic, in this certain dynamic, what I always say to my friends are, black men don't want a mirror image of who they are and what they represent and what they look like. So you love you don't want to wake up to you. So, right. So you marry somebody different, and obviously with white supremacy and white privilege, and not white privilege, but white supremacy and imposing white views and European standards of beauty onto black bodies, you have the black men disliking themselves and thinking that the lighter the fare, the better the hair. Aspire, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want somebody that doesn't look like them, and so that they can wake up. And also has to do with children, right? Because if you marry somebody light skinned, you also are going to have offspring that may or may not. A lot of times people get real shocked when they babies still come out dark as fuck, because they are dark as fuck. So, but they think that their children are going to be lighter skinned, and that's going to just be a better situation. And it's this article from Brazil where a long time ago, I don't know the year, and so I don't really want to quote this article, but it brought up a good point that back in the day in Brazil, you have your grandmothers who wanted their grandchildren to like, or the mothers wanted their children to marry up. So marrying up would be like marrying somebody of a lighter skin. And then once they did that, they're essentially getting rid of the blackness within, you know, Brazilian culture, because Brazil is very anti-black. You know, Brazil is very anti-black. So, and that, you can say the same thing. I'm about to say same thing. You can say the same thing for, you know, Latinx and Latino people. Like, they are, you know, very anti-black. They can be, even though we know they have African American, or not African American, but African ancestry. So, anyways, a lot of these black men, going back to the point, aspire because aspirations going on, you know, aspirations. Their aspirations are, I'm going to marry up, and marrying up is marrying light. And we know as black people that isn't right, obviously, but that's the situation. So the anti-blackness, the self-hatred is very embedded. I'm not gonna say all black men, because that's not true. And honestly, statistically showing black men do marry black women. But what the thing of it is that when they have the opportunity to get outside of their culture, outside of their race, they will do it. And that's statistics. That's just statistics. If you look at people who, the elite in the black community, you know, it is looked down upon for you to marry dark, even though you have figureheads like Obama, obviously, who married dark. But like in these elite circles, they are looked down upon and shamed for marrying dark. They are told that marrying light, aspired light skin, colorism, obviously, we can go. And so I wanted to do a quick story time. For this. So when I was a teenager growing up, I think it was like late teenagers, early 20s, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to say teenagers, like 19, I'm not sure. This was a long time ago. I went to this thing called the Al-Maghrib Institute Learning Whatever Center. And I know a lot of people know what I'm talking about, right? So I went to this thing called the Al-Maghrib Institute. It was in Michigan, and Yasser Barjaz was coming, and he was going to teach love notes, right? So, and I think I talked about this in why Arabs are racist in my other video, and not all Arabs are racist, obviously, because I have Arab friends. Obviously, they're not racist, but they're a majority can be. So I went to this thing, you know, and I'm not going to mention the people involved, but they live here in the area. And so this guy who was surrounded by so many, he is a dark-skinned, you know, Jamaican descent man, and I was not interested in him. Let's just get that out there, because I know people gonna go in the comment section talking about, you must have been interested in him, and why did he choose you? Like, I don't fucking care. In fact, I don't know why people think like because you call people out on their shit that you've been hurt. Somebody said I was hurt by like a Somali person. It's like, no, actually, that I think. Let me stop. I'm not gonna make no comments. But so we went to this Al-Maghrib Institute learning situation. It was love notes and how Rasulullah sallallahu, like how he treated his wives. And so it was really great. You know, a lot of people went because they wanted to know, but a lot of people also went because they wanted to get married, like they wanted to find a spouse. And while I was doing my own thing with my like Saudi prince, because like there was this Saudi guy there who was just like so beautiful, so like he was gorgeous, but he, you know, that didn't end up working because of some racial nuances. So like going back into that, there was this guy who went with us. We all went on a road trip, some of my friends and my friend's mother. And so when the guy got there who was riding with us, he had been approached by so many dark-skinned women and women in the area of which he lived that were black. So as soon as we got there, and he is a dark-skinned Jamaican man, he like saw this girl. She was like everything that, you know, and this is not preference, you know, like this is like for me in my mind, it's just like it just kind of gives you a peek into like how people can think. But like he's been approached by all these beautiful women. I'm like, oh my god, like he was like his, like I'm not saying your standards are mad high, like, but they're mad high, or at least like you're a fool, because like these women were beautiful, right? So like I'm just like, I don't know, maybe he just doesn't want to get married. But like as soon as we got there, like this girl like didn't even approach him. He approached her, and like they were like mucking it up in the place or whatever. And I'm like, wow, like, and you know, asking him later on, like his sister's like, what is his type, you know, like, because the girl's been approaching him like on some like intense, like they want to get to know this guy. And like the girl said, oh, he likes light-skinned girls with like curly hair. And like I'm like, oh my god, okay, I get it now. I get it. So that's just like a representation of some things that can happen. You know, some examples of anti-blackness within Islam is like you have all of these people. So there's a hierarchy of like pigmentation and represent like a caste system, I think, and I believe within Islam, even though I'm Muslim. So I follow the religion, right? I don't follow people's cultures and what they do. And so what I notice is that there's definitely a caste system implemented by Muslims within the culture and the diaspora. So you have Muslims who are like who put this hierarchy and this way of thinking and embedded in the culture, and so people automatically like think that that's what's the thing to do or whatever. So a representation of like some of the things that I've encountered or my experience would be like people not wanting to pray next to you because you're black, like Arabs not wanting to pray next to you because you're black. Friends of mine being called abid, which means slave in Arabic. Oh yeah, oh my god. So like I don't know, black people know, like black Muslims know, Arabs will not salam you. Like Arabs will not salam you if you salam them. Like if you say salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, you give them that long greeting, right? They are like so anti, like they will not salam you. And so I used to work in the mall a long time ago, and it was coming to the point where I'm like, if I see it, because it was so many Saudi women all the time, because we have a world-renowned hospital here. So the Saudis would fly in for the healthcare, and it was getting to the point where the Saudi men would salam me, but the women wouldn't. And so like, when they come in, they're like, salaming me, sometimes flirting, like whatever. But like the women, they would come in, they would never salam me. They would look down at their shoes. They would act like I'm not like this invisible person. And whenever sometimes, and I'm not saying the men salam me all the time either, but whenever they would come in, it was getting to the point where I didn't want to even salam them anymore. I didn't even want to talk to them, because it was like, what's the fucking point? You're not going to salam me back, so what's the point? And so this woman in this full like niqab, and this full burqa, like she's like, salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I'm like, are you throwing shade at me, lady? I mean, I was getting to the point I didn't want to salam her, and she got mad because she like presented herself and like was walking around me and just seeing if I was going to acknowledge her presence. And it's like, no, like I'm not going to, because a large majority of your people have ostracized me, and I don't even want to go there with you right now. But like I said, I'm her back, obviously. And then like a lot of times Arabs too, like in the community, and I'll talk about the other communities as well, is that they ostracize you. They make you feel like you're less than, especially in Saudi. The Saudis are just like known for it. I don't know if that comes with the wealth as well, but like they are very, like they just treat you in a different way, and I'm not here for it. And so you also have other communities as well. Obviously I talked about the Somali community before, and like how they can be very anti-black, even though some of them consider themselves to be black. I understand that, and I apologize if I offended anybody with the whole like Somalis don't think they're black. Some of them do, but a lot of them, if you look at the comment section of that video, don't think that they're black. And let's just be real, and let's just be honest about it. And so you have those communities who look at black people, Black Americans. My friend, as an example, came into one of their shops before, and the Somali woman just looked at her like she was this alien woman. And then like, because I know, so they were looking at her like she was crazy, like because she had on she had on regular American clothes, and they were looking at her like she was nuts. Hold on 1 second. They were looking at her like she was crazy and nuts and just like not having it. So that's just one of the examples. And they were looking at me because I had been there so long. And the reason that I'm talking this fast is because my videos be going out, like, sorry. So slow it down on your thing if you can. But I had been there a lot. People, like, I don't look Somali at all, obviously, but like people had, will walk up to me and be like, Somali, like, are you Somali? Like saying it in Somali, like, so like I have like a relationship with people in the area, so they don't immediately look at me like, oh, look at that, black person or Magoon or whatever you want to call it. Like they would, but then when she walked in, my black African American friend with her normal American clothes and hijab, they were just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't want no parts of that. And then you also have these Indian and Pakistani cultures as well that are very anti-black as well. Even Indians can be dark skinned, Desi people can be dark skinned, like Pakistani people can be dark skinned, but they still have this anti-blackness. And I feel like that has a lot to do with colonialism and European standards of beauty, obviously. There's all sorts of things aimed at us on a daily basis. People have POC, non-POC, POC black, like, who aimed at us to not love ourselves. But I feel like going back into the whole thing of like black men not loving black women in Islam, it's like we have to be able to love ourselves, and we have to get out of this narrative of like, oh my God, I'm going to continue and perpetuate this hate. Because you know what? You're going to have a dark-skinned daughter. And then you're not going to know what to do, because she's going to meet somebody like you, and everything's going to be just essentially messed up, right? So I have to cut this video short. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll be back with another video next week. I'm not posting no more this week. Me and Selena will be talking on Thursday, and then that's it. And then I'm going to an event on Sunday for black women. I just love stuff about black women, so hopefully you can tune into that next week. But I am burnt out from this week. I just wanted to just like really get back into the whole like issues of blackness and black academia, and we need to learn about ourselves. And I'll start implementing some factual evidences so that people don't just think I'm talking out the side of my neck, because I'm not. So inshallah, everybody have a good day. Inshallah means God's willing. And that's it. So tune in next time. This is my outfit today, you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, okay? Like, comment, and subscribe, please. And tell your friends about this crazy black woman, Muslim woman on YouTube, because everybody needs to know about it, right? Okay, bye.